Hey, welcome back to True-Moto-Resto, and on today's video we're going to see why this fuel tank is leaking and see what I can do to fix it. Stay tuned. This is a fuel tank off 85 Honda VF1000R. Euro style paint job on it, and down here the sticker has been put over top of what I believe is blistering of the paint. Peel it off, likely because the paint looks like we've got some breakthrough here of rust, and it's gotten underneath the paint and started to blister the paint off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to peel all that problematic area back and see where the problem is. Likely right around down here, and see what can be done to fix that. And taking a look inside, let's get a flashlight for that. Taking a look inside, it looks like we have a tank liner in there. If you can see that, kind of silver tank liner in there. So we'll have to account for that in the repair process as well, because if I end up soldering this up and punching through the holes there, that would mean that the liner on the inside at some point has been compromised. So may have to reapply a certain amount of lining material in there. All right, well, it looks like there's a really old repair of some sort in here. That is filler or something. But whatever it is, it hasn't stood the test of time, that's for sure. So I'm gonna have to dig that out. Okay, so it looks like there's two potential repair spots here. There's one here, and again, there's some sort of a filler in there. So my guess is that at some point there was a filler applied into the, this is quite a large area. Filler maybe applied in there, and then the aligner was put in on the inside. But so my approach is going to be, I'm going to use a really fine tool in my Dremel to get rid of all of that filler, which is going to go right through to the inside, no doubt. All right, so I've dug out whatever it was that was in there, and it's really hard to know if that was a filler or whether it was just the tank liner that was poured in that kind of came out of the holes. So there is the breach in the tank, and if I shine a flashlight through those holes, I can see it shining through that crack there, that crevice in the liner. And there's the, this is my bore scope, basically going inside the tank. So, okay, so a bit about the process of repairing this, what the plan is. So, stage by stage, I'm gonna finish cleaning out as much of this as I can inside, as well as the outside. I'm gonna get rid of as much paint down here as I can to make sure that there's no little black specks and pinholes there, that I don't want to miss anything if I'm soldering. So I'll expose any further pinholes. This area, once I'm satisfied it's cleaned inside and out as much as I can, I'm going to dimple that down and recess it so it's kind of not kind of level this way. I don't want the edges of this to be at the same height as all of this stuff. I'm going to grind back the paint here further, probably back to up here somewhere. Next thing I'm going to do is to cut a couple of pieces of metal, steel, just to kind of fit over these holes. and those pieces of metal will have to fit inside kind of the dimpled area. So I'm gonna hammer that stuff down. So the pieces of metal will be obviously bigger than the holes so they don't fall through, but small enough that they don't protrude past the, I don't want them to be sitting proud of the metal, put it that way. Same with this one. Then I'll solder it in, grind all that smooth. So that would basically, at that point, should look like kind of fresh metal. We'll you know, fill it where it needs to be filled, sand it, prime it, and then the plan would be to spot paint this. I'm not going to paint the entire tank. Worst case scenario, I would just paint this one side again in blue, but I might get away with just painting this. This question's been asked before in one of the comments when I painted another VF1000R for my buddy about this paint color. So the original Honda Blue, so let's go over the Honda colors here. Fighting Red, Shasta White, Candy Aleutian Blue. Now the original paint that Honda used, so if you go to Color Right to buy paint, which is supposed to be the, you know, it's very close to the original colors as you can get. And the way the Honda painted these bikes, this is what they call a Tri-Candy Pearl. So it's not just kind of a base coat, clear coat. What Honda did is they painted it, where the blue is, they painted it silver. And then they painted a very transparent blue candy over top. So that's how it got the metallic look, was silver with a candy blue over it, and then clear coat over that. Now, trying to match that color, first of all, buying from Color Right is, I find, quite expensive. I've only ever done it once, but I don't do that with the Honda Candy Aleutian Blue. What I use is this Ford Sonic Blue Pearl. There's the code. There's the name. And there you can, oh, there it is, 2012. 2012 Ford Sonic Blue Pearl. And that is just, I just wrote on here, Candy Aleutian Blue. And it's a perfect match without having to put in a silver base coat. So basically, once you primed it, you can spray the Sonic Blue Pearl and then your clear coat, and it will look exactly, in my eye, the same as the Candy Aleutian Blue. I've held up panels painted with the Sonic Blue to the Candy Aleutian Blue on my, this is all original, on my NS400R, and it's indistinguishable. So when I painted the Rothman's bike, which is this color, same thing, Sonic Blue. That's Ford Sonic Blue Pearl. And when you hold those panels up in the same light, I mean, it's going to look a little different depending on kind of the lighting in the shop here. But when I painted those and I held them up against the NS400R, the color was like virtually identical. I'd say, you know, like 98%. Bit of muriatic acid just painted on here just to etch the metal so the solder will stick a little better. And I'm also going to etch the patch pieces as well. Don't forget how nasty muriatic acid is. You know, wear rubber gloves and whatnot. Mask if you have one. And I always put it back in a Ziploc bag, because if this bottle ever decides to leak, it'll cause anything within, I don't know how, maybe 40 feet in an enclosed space to start rusting. It's the gas off this stuff is just brutal. All right, I'm going to film this best I can. It's kind of hard to film with the tank in the position that it's in, laying with the side horizontal, but that's going to be the easiest way for me to get the solder to stay where I need it. And unfortunately, my tripod doesn't go any higher than that. So I've got these little patch pieces of metal that are going to cover the holes. So I've already fluxed the tank, so I'm going to put some flux on this patch piece here as well. So I'll lift that up so you can see the patch piece laying on there. So this is a very heavy duty soldering iron. I don't know how many watts it is, but it's a lot. So the idea here is you want to heat up the patch piece and the tank, and then once that heats up sufficiently, so it's like plumbing, right? You don't want to heat the solder. You want to heat the piece that you want the solder to stick to. Otherwise, it's not going to flow properly, and you're going to get a cold solder joint, and that's not going to be good for anything. So just a waiting game. There she goes. She's starting to melt now. I'm just moving from one end of this patch to the next because it's a fairly large hole, so I need to kind of heat the pieces in stages, I think, and then after a while the whole thing will start to heat hold the heat. There's kind of there's a progress shot there. Let's see where we're getting there. So I'm going to continue to do that, and then we'll come back and see how it's doing. All right, so there's the repair. So patches are hidden away there underneath all that solder. So now what I need to do is to grind a bunch of that solder off so I can tell how well it's kind of seated in there and sealed up, and make sure there's no pinholes remaining. Especially I'm concerned about this one. Was a bit of a bugger to get this little patch on, so I just want to make sure down on this edge especially that it's sealed up okay. All right, so there is the repair after I've sanded it down a little bit. And as I said, the part that I'm most concerned about is right here. See that dark spot there? That tells me that the solder hasn't really fully adhered or sealed up there. That's going to leak again. This other little pocket right here, it's just kind of an empty void. I just want to kind of fill that in, and then everything else seems to be okay. I might try just to add a little bit more here and smooth that off as well. Just got to be careful because this patch piece here is so small, relatively speaking, that as soon as it heats up enough, it just kind of wants to float away. So I got to be careful heating that up again. So let's see how this part goes. All right, well, I think that's gonna be okay. It's all the critical areas seem to be sealed up okay. This is this darker spot here is the edge of the patch piece. Not darker spot here. This is where the patch piece is showing through, and yeah, the only spot maybe I'll need to reconsider is that little bit right there. It's probably okay, but maybe I'll just give that another dab of solder and just make sure it's sealed up real good. All right, so there we are with the solder repair and the metal patches in there. So what I'm going to mix up now to go over top of that is going to be a mix of fiberglass filler and fiberglass resin, and that should also be basically fuel proof as well, but by mixing the fiberglass resin and the fiberglass filler, it just flows out a little nicer. So I'm going to mix that, put that on, and then I still have to treat the inside of the tank with some more tank sealer. So there's the VF1000R tank. It's been all repaired and filled, primed. The whole thing has been wet sanded. So the plan with this one will be to blow in this area with blue. I will mask off the Honda decal, and obviously from this line here over, and probably we'll use I think it's called a foam tape. It's a bit like back masking, where you kind of have it gives you a softer edge where you blow in, so you don't get kind of a hard tape line where the new paint stops and the old paint starts. And then the whole tank will get clear coated. Okay, so that's the first coat of blue on the VF1000R tank. So it's probably going to take a couple more coats of blue, blowing that in, and then all that masking can come off, and then the whole tank will get re-cleared. But I'll do the clear coat once the Yamaha tank is done at the same time. So, all right, there we are, 3 coats of blue. Looks like it's blended in pretty well. And then we'll take this down now, and I've got another tank to blow in, and then we can clear coat everything together at the same time. All right, there is the VF1000R tank re-clear coated. So that should all be good to go. Let it dry the rest of the day. Come back and pick this stuff up tomorrow. And then we'll get everything reassembled with the petcock and the gas cap, and it'll be good.